applewood smoked bacon, sweet Vidalia onions, and Emmental cheese to give it a nice bite. The first batch was minutes from coming out of the oven. I have to buy one before I leave. I'll give it to you. Compliments of the house. You're the best. Anyway, where was I? Meredith tapped her lower lip with her index finger. Right. The big bash to celebrate. I know it's short notice since it's tomorrow, but I thought we'd add mariachis at the entrance. I adore Latin music, but why mariachis? They're festive. Maybe some of your grandmother's actors will dress up in serapes and sombreros and carry guitars. Something this avant-garde would be right up Grandmare's alley. In addition to being town mayor, she ran the Providence Playhouse, which put on a mixed bag of productions, to say the least. They won't have to play the guitars, of course, Meredith went on. They'll pretend, karaoke style, piped through speakers. I'll have the gals at So Inspired Quilt Shop help me decorate. Doesn't it sound fun? She painted the air with her fingers. And we'll have a scavenger hunt to look for the buried treasure. That's a rumor. Old man Ziegler swore on his deathbed that there was treasure. I let out an exasperated sigh. If something valuable was buried beneath the winery, I'd bet dimes to dollars Ziegler's daughter had unearthed it before she skipped town. Unless, of course, she found a body buried there. Another rumor. And that was why she'd really left. Let me show you what else I have planned. Meredith pulled a piece of purple haze paper with frayed edges from her tote and waved it. The timer in the kitchen tweeted, "Give me a sec." I hurried to the kitchen at the rear of the shop, pulled the quiches from the oven to cool, grabbed the quickie breakfast I'd intended to eat in the silence of my office, 2 floral napkins, a knife, and a bottle of Kindred Creek spring water, and led my friend through the stone arches into the wine annex that abutted the main store. I set the breakfast on one of the mosaic cafe tables, poured the water into 2 of our big bowled wine glasses, and offered Meredith half a croissant swathed with soft Taleggio cheese and homemade raspberry jam. Melt-in-your-mouth goodness. As I took my seat, Meredith handed me the list. In addition to the scavenger hunt, she'd written down sack races, tag football, and frisbee contests. More than 50 people had been invited. "Oh, I almost forgot the main reason I came to see you," Meredith said, her mouth half full. A tiny moan of gourmet delight followed her words. "I want you to serve fondue at the party." I gulped. She'd hired me at the onset to provide cheese platters and finger food for the event. Fondue was not your typical buffet item. It was lovely for an intimate group of 6 or 8, but 50 or more? On a day's notice? Oh my. You can do it, right? Of course you can. You're so incredible. Nothing phases you. I want lots of different kinds of fondues. Meredith ticked her fingers. A cow's milk, a goat's milk, and a sheep's milk. Sheep's milk cheese doesn't melt well. Sure. You know best. Anyway, it'll fit into the party's theme, Lost in Fondue. Get it? We're finding a new college. She giggled, tickled with her cleverness. And I want Matthew to add champagne to the wine tasting. My cousin, a former sommelier, was my partner in the cheese shop and Meredith's flame. I know the additions are last minute, but please say you can do it all. Please? How could I say no in the face of her excitement? I nodded. Meredith leaped to her feet. Yippee! Oh, on the platters of cheese, you've simply got to include that Humboldt fog and, that rosemary-crusted sheep's cheese. Mitika Romao? That's it. And that red hawk from the Cowgirl Creamery? I made an open-faced salmon melt, like you suggested. Major yum. Red Hawk cheese was one of my all-time favorites. It had a buttery flavor and the smoothness of a camembert. The closer to room temperature it was served, the better. That was true for any cheese. Did I tell you that I've invited my niece and her art class from Ohio State University to commemorate the event? Meredith said. The last time I'd seen Quinn, I was her babysitter. I told you she's studying